Shadowkiss, Chapter 7. When the first warning for Crew came around, the Morai packed their things up. Adrian took off right away, but Lisa and Christian took their time walking back to the dorm. They held hands and kept their heads close together, whispering about something that I could have spied on if I could gone inside Lisa's head. They were still outraged over Victor's news. I gave them their privacy and kept my distance, scouting while he walked off to their side. Since there was no Morai than Tampiers on campus, the Morai actually had two side-by-side dorms. Lisa and Christian lived in different ones. The two of them stopped when they came to the spot outside the building where the path, though the quit split. They kissed goodbye, and I did my best to the guardian, saying without actually saying thing. Lisa called goodbye to me and then headed off to her dorm with Ethan. I followed Christian to his. If I could been guarding Adrian or someone like him, I could probably have had to put up with the sexual jokes about us sleeping near each other for the next 6 weeks. But Christian treated me in the usual braccio way one might a sister. He cleared a spot on floor for me, and by the time he returned from the brushing his teeth, I could make myself a cozy bed out of the blankets. He flipped off the lights and climbed into his own bed. After several quiet moments, I asked, Christian, this is the time when we sleep, Rose. I am, believe me, I want that too. But I have a question. Is it about Victor? Because I need to sleep, and that is just going to piss me off again. No, it is about something else. Okay, shoot. Why don't you make a fun of me over what happened with Jen? Everyone else is trying to figure out if I messed up or did it on the purpose. Lisa gave me a hard time. Adrian did a little, and the guardians. Well, never mind about them. But you don't say anything. I figured you could be the first one with a snappy comment. More silence fell, and I hoped he was thinking about his answer and not falling asleep. There was no point in giving you a hard time, he said at last. I know you don't do it on the purpose. Why not? I mean, not that I'm contracting you, because I don't do it on purpose, but why are you so sure? Because of our conversation in culinary science, and because of the way you are. I saw you in the Spokane. Anyone who did what you did to save us, well, you could not do something childish like this. Wow, thanks. Well, that means a lot. Christian believed in me when no one else did. You're the first person who actually believes I just messed up without any altered motives. Well, he said, I don't believe that either. Believe what? That I messed up? Why not? Why not you just listening? I saw you in Spokane. Someone like you does not mess up or freeze. I started to give him the same line I could give in the Guardians, that killing Strigoi don't make me invincible, but he cut me off. Plus, I saw your face out there. Out on the quad? Yeah. Several more quiet moments passed. I don't know what happened, but the way you looked, that was not the look of someone trying to get back at a person. It was not the look of someone blanking out at Alto's attack either. It was something different. I don't know, but you were completely consumed by something else. And honestly, your expression kind of scary. Yeah, yet you're not giving me a hard time over that either. Not my business. If it was big enough to take you over like that, then it must be serious. But if push comes to shove, I feel safe with you, Rose. I know you could protect me if there was really a Strigoi there, he added. Okay, now that I have bagged my soul, can we please go to bed? Maybe you don't need beauty sleep, but some of us are not that lucky. I let him sleep and soon gave in to exhaustion myself. I had had a long day and was still short on rest from previous night. Once heavy sleep, I began a dream. As I did, I felt the telltale signs of one of the urgent's conventor dreams. Oh no, I groaned. I stood In a garden in the middle of the summer, the air was heavy and humid, and sunshine beat down on me in golden waves. Flowers of every color bloomed around me, and the air was heavy with the scent of lily buds and rose. Bees and butterflies danced from blossom to blossom. I wore jeans and the linen tank top. My nazar, a small blue eye made of glass, that alleged wrath of evil, hung around my neck. I also wore a beaded bracelet with a cross called a chokati on my wrist. It was a dragon morai hell room Lisa had given me. I rarely wore jewelry in my daily duties, but I always showed up in my bee's dreams. Where are you? I called. I know you're there. Adrian stepped around from an apple tree that was thick with pink and white flowers. He wore jeans, something I could never seen him in before. They looked good and were undoubtedly a designer brand. A dark green cotton t-shirt, also very simple, covered his upper body, and sunlight brought out high lines of gold and chestnut in his brown hair. I told you to stay out of my dreams. I said, putting my hands on my hips. He gave me his lazy smile. But how else are we supposed to talk? You don't seem very friendly earlier. Maybe if you don't use compassion on people, you could have some friends. I had to have, I had to save you from yourself. Your aurora was like a storm cloud. Okay, for once, can we please not talk about auroras and my impending doom? The look in his eyes told me he was actually really interested in that, but he let it go. Okay, can we talk about other things? But I don't want to talk at all. I want to sleep. You're sleeping. Adrian smiled and walked over to study a flowering vane that was winding up a post. It had orange and yellow flowers, shaped from pants. He gently ran his fingers over one of the flower edges. This was my grandmother's garden. Great, I said, making myself comfortable against the apple tree. It looked like we could be here for a while. Now I get to hear your family history. Hey, she's a cool lady. I'm sure she was. Can I go yet? His eyes are still on the vine blossom. You should not knock Mora family trees. You don't know anything about your father. For all you know, we could be related. Could that mean you could leave me alone? Strolling back over to me, he switched subjects as though there has been no interruption. Nah, don't worry. I think we came from different trees. Is not your dad from Turkish guy anyway? Yeah, according to Ma. Hey, are you starting at my chest? He was studying me closely, but his eyes were no longer on my face. I crossed my arms over my chest and glad. I'm starting at your shirt, he said. The color is all wrong. Reaching out, he touched the strap, like ink spreading across the paper. The iron fabric turned the same shade of rich indigo as the veins blossoms. He narrowed his eyes like an expert artist studying his work. How could you do that? I exclaimed. It's my dream. You're not a blue person. Well, at least not in the color sense. Let's try this. The blue lit up the brilliant crystal. Yes, that's it. Red is your color. Red like a rose, like a sweet, sweet rose. Oh man, I said. I don't know you could kick into crazy mood even in the dreams. He never got as drunk and depressed as Lisa had last year, but spirit definitely made him weird sometimes. He stepped back and threw his arms out. I'm always crazy around you, Rose. Here, I'm going to write an impromptu poem for you. He tipped his head back and shouted to the sky. Rose is red, but never in blue. Sharp as a thorn, fights like one too. Adrian dropped his arms and looked at me expansionally. How can a throne fight? I asked. He shook his head. Art does not have to make sense, little Dampier. Besides, I'm supposed to be crazy, right? Not the craziest I have ever seen. Well, he said, pacing over to study from hydrogens. I will work on that. I started to ask again about what, when I could go back to sleep, but our exchanges brought something to my mind. Adrian, how do you know if you're crazy or not? He turned from the flowers, a smile on his face. I could tell he was about to make a joke, but then he looked at me more closely. The smile faded, and he turned unusually serious. Do you think you're crazy? He asked. I don't know, I said, looking down at the ground. I was barefoot, and sharp glades of grasses tickled my feet. I have been seeing things. People who are crazy rarely question whether they are crazy, he said wisely. I sighed and looked back up at him. That does not really help me. He walked back over to me and rested a hand on my shoulder. I don't think you're crazy, Rose. I think you have been through a lot, though. I frowned. What does that mean? It means I don't think you're crazy. Thanks. That clears things up. You know, these dreams are really starting to bug me. Lisa does not mind them, he said. You visit hers too? Do you seriously have no boundaries? Nah, hers are instructional. She wants to learn how to do this. Great. So I'm just the lucky one who gets to put up with your sexual harassment? He actually looked hurt. I really wish you don't act like I'm an evil in creation. Sorry, I just have not had much reason to believe you can do anything useful. Right. As opposed to your cuddle robbing mentor, I don't really see you making much progress with him. I took a step back and narrowed my eyes. Leave Dremet out of this. I will, when you stop acting like he's perfect. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he's one of the people who hide the trial from you, right? I looked away. That is not important right now. Besides, he had his reasons. Yeah, which apparently don't involve being open with you or fighting to get you there. Whereas me, it's just I could get you into the trial. You? I asked with a harsh laugh. How are you going to pull that off? Have a smoke break with a judge? Use compulsion on the queen and half the royals at the court? You should not be so quick to slam people who can help you. Just wait. He placed a light kiss on my forehead that I tried to wiggle away from, but for now, go and get some rest. The dark, the garden faded, and I fell back into the normal blankness of sleep.